A heart-stopping thriller about two brilliant scientists whose forbidden research comes back to haunt them. When Maya receives a desperate call from Alexander's man, she fled from 3 years Agash's, pulled into a deadly game of corporate espionage, betrayal, and impossible choices. Greetings, fellow dreamers. This tale is filled with love, secrets, and a twist you'll never forget. Come along as we uncover it. The thunder rolled across the city like a warning as Maya Rodriguez pressed her face against the rain-streaked window of her cramped studio apartment. Lightning illuminated the streets below, casting everything in harsh, white relief. Her phone buzzed against the kitchen counter, the sound cutting through the storm's symphony. The caller ID made her stomach drop. Alexander Kane. 3 years. 3 years since she'd last heard that voice, since she'd walked away from everything they'd built together. Her hand trembled as she answered. Maya. His voice was rougher now, carrying scars she hadn't put there. I need to see you. Alex. I told you never to contact me again. She gripped the phone tighter, memories flooding back like the rain outside. The warehouse fire, the accusations, the choice that had torn them apart. Someone's trying to kill me, and they're using our old research to do it? The words hit her like ice water. Their research. The project that had consumed 2 years of their lives, that had brought them together in a lab filled with equations and late-night conversations. The project she'd buried along with her feelings for him. That's impossible. We destroyed everything. Did we? His laugh was bitter. Meet me at the old university lab. Midnight. Come alone. Or the blood of every person who dies from this will be on both our hands. The line went dead. Maya stared at her reflection in the black window, seeing not the respected biochemist she'd become, but the broken woman who'd fled 3 years ago. Thunder crashed overhead, and she knew her carefully constructed new life was about to shatter. Outside, hidden in the shadows across the street, a figure watched her apartment and spoke quietly into a radio. Target confirmed. She's taking the bait. The university laboratory stood empty and cold, emergency lighting casting long shadows. Between abandoned workbenches, Maya's footsteps echoed in the silence as she pushed through the heavy doors, her heart hammering against her ribs. Alex emerged from the darkness like a ghost from her past. He was thinner now, his once perfect hair disheveled, a scar running from his left temple to his jaw. But his eyes still held that dangerous intelligence that had first drawn her in. You came. Relief flooded his voice. I shouldn't have. She kept her distance, noting how he favored his left side. You're hurt. Someone tried to run me down 2 days ago. Professional job. He moved to the old computer terminal they'd shared countless nights, his fingers dancing across the keyboard. Look at this. The screen flickered to life, displaying molecular structures that made Maya's blood run cold. Their research, their breakthrough, the formula they'd sworn to destroy. How is this possible? We deleted everything. Someone recovered it, enhanced it, made it deadlier. Alex's voice cracked. Maya, they've weaponized our work. The thing we created to save lives is being turned into a biological weapon. She stepped closer, despite herself, studying the modifications on screen. Whoever had done this was brilliant and completely ruthless. Who has it? That's what I've been trying to figure out. But every lead I follow, every contact I approach, they end up dead. He turned to face her, and she saw the guilt eating him alive, Dr. Harrison. Professor Williams. Even Jamie from the research team. Maya's knees nearly buckled. Jamie. Sweet, idealistic Jamie who'd believed they were changing the world. We fell in love with our own genius and ignored the consequences. His hand reached toward her face, then stopped. But we can still fix this. Together. The word together hung between them like a loaded weapon. Outside, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Too many for a night security patrol. Alex grabbed her hand. We need to go. Now. The abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city reeked of rust and forgotten dreams. Maya huddled closer to the makeshift. Fire Alex had built in a metal drum, watching shadows dance across his face as he studied files spread across a broken table. Tell me about the night you left. His voice cut through the silence without warning. Maya's chest tightened. We don't have time for this. We have nothing but time. They think we're dead after that explosion at the lab. He looked up, his scarred face hard in the firelight. 3 years, Maya. 3 years I've wondered if you left because you discovered something about me. The accusation hung between them like smoke. She'd hoped they could avoid this conversation, could focus on stopping whoever had their research. But the way he watched her now, she realized he'd been carrying this wound all along. I left because I was afraid. The truth tasted bitter, afraid of what we were becoming, afraid of how much I needed you. Liar. The word was soft, but devastating. Left because you found the Meridian files. Maya's blood turned to ice. Meridian, the Black Ops project she'd stumbled across in his encrypted drives. The one that proved Alexander Kane wasn't just a brilliant researcher, but something far more dangerous. You were selling our early prototypes to military contractors? Her voice was barely a whisper. While I thought we were saving lives, you were creating weapons. Alex stood slowly, his movements predatory. I was protecting us. Do you have any idea what kind of people want this technology? At least with Meridian, I could control how it was used. Control? Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. Alex, people died because of those weapons. Innocent people. And how many more will die if we don't stop what's happening now? He moved around the table toward her. Maya, I need you to understand something. Everything I did, every compromise I made, it was all to keep you safe. The admission hit her like a physical blow. Outside, car engines hummed to a stop, and Alex's head snapped toward the sound. Did you tell anyone where we were going? No, I swear I didn't. But as armed figures surrounded the warehouse, Maya realized with growing horror that she might not be the only one who'd been keeping secrets. The tactical team moved through the warehouse like shadows, their laser sights cutting red lines through the smoke-filled air. Maya pressed herself against Alex's back as they crouched behind an overturned table, his body trembling with barely contained rage. How did they find us? He whispered. The answer came in the form of a familiar voice echoing. Through the warehouse? Because I told them exactly where you'd be. Dr. Elena Vasquez stepped into the light, flanked by armed operatives. Maya's mentor. The woman who'd guided her through graduate school, who'd recommended her for the research position where she'd met Alex. The woman she'd trusted with her darkest fears about their work. Elena, Maya's voice cracked. What are you doing here? Cleaning up a mess that should have been handled 3 years ago? Elena's smile was cold, clinical. Did you really think you could create something that powerful and just walk away? That the world would forget? Alex pulled Maya closer, his voice deadly quiet. You're the one who's been hunting us. I'm the one who's been trying to save this world from your reckless brilliance. Elena gestured to her men, who began moving closer. Hey, the research you two created could have revolutionized medicine. Instead, you turned it into something that could destroy entire populations. We didn't weaponize it, Maya protested. We tried to destroy it. After Alexander had already sold prototypes to the highest bidders, Elena's gaze fixed on Alex. Did you think I didn't know about Meridian? About the deals you made to fund? Your precious research? Maya felt Alex stiffen beside her. Another secret? Another lie? Elena, please? If you want the research, take it. Just let Maya go. She's not part of this anymore. Oh, but she is. Elena pulled out a tablet, swiping to display surveillance photos. Maya Rodriguez, currently employed at Bellwether Pharmaceuticals, where she's been secretly continuing your work. Did you think we wouldn't notice the molecular signatures in her recent patents? Maya's world tilted. The defensive research she'd been doing, the antidotes she'd been developing, they'd been watching all along. The truth is, both of you are too dangerous to live. But Maya, you have a choice. Elena nodded to her men. Help us perfect the weapon, and Alexander dies quickly. Refuse, and we'll make both of you suffer before we take what we need anyway. Alex turned to look at Maya, and she saw something die in his eyes. The realization that she'd been lying to him just as much as he'd been. Lying to her, Maya, he whispered. Tell me you didn't continue the research. Her silence was answer enough. The warehouse fell silent except for the rain drumming against the metal roof. Maya stared at Alex's broken expression, feeling the last of her carefully built walls crumble. I never stopped loving our work, she whispered. I thought if I could create an antidote, I could undo the damage we'd done. And instead, you gave them the missing piece. Alex's voice was hollow, the neutralizing agent. They can deploy the weapon without fear of blowback. Alina stepped forward, triumph gleaming in her eyes. Brilliant, isn't it? Your guilt made you the perfect unknowing accomplice. But Maya was no longer listening to Alina. She was watching Alex's face, seeing the moment when his despair transformed into something else. Something dangerous? Maya, do you trust me? One last time? The question hung in the air like a prayer. 3 years of separation, lies, and betrayal, and he was still asking for her faith. Always. She breathed. Alex smiled, and it was the same smile that had made her fall in love with him in a sterile lab filled with impossible dreams. Then he lunged for the emergency gas valve they'd passed on the way in. Alex, no. The explosion that followed lit up the night sky like a dying star. Maya felt herself thrown backward, her ears ringing, her vision blurred. Through the smoke and flames, she saw Elena's team scattered, some moving, others terrifyingly still. Alex crawled toward her through the debris, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. The files. Did you bring copies of your antidote research? Maya nodded, pulling a waterproof case from inside her jacket. Destroy them. All of it, every formula, every note. His hand covered hers. We end this the way we should have 3 years ago. Together, they fed the papers to the flames. Years of research, of hope and ambition, turning to ash. Maya watched their life's work disappear and felt something like peace settle over her. The authorities will be here soon, Alex said, sirens wailing in the distance. Elena's people won't risk exposure. What happens to us now? Alex pulled her close, his lips brushing her temple. We disappear. Start over. We should have been doing all along. Maya looked into his eyes, seeing past the scars to the man she'd never stopped loving. Together, if you'll have a broken spy who's made more mistakes than he can count? She kissed him then, tasting smoke and redemption, feeling the weight of their shared guilt finally beginning to lift. When they broke apart, Alina and her remaining operatives were gone, vanished into the night like the shadows they'd always been. As dawn broke over the city, Maya and Alex walked away from the burning warehouse, hand in hand, ready to build something new from the ashes of their past. The end.